Welcome back to Foodie Down Bronx. I'm your host, the Hungry Dominican. Our guest today is doing incredible work in the Bronx as an activist, social entrepreneur, and mother of 6. She's the founder of the Black Feminist Project and Black Joy Farm. Welcome Tanya Fields, AKA Mama Tanya, to the show. Mama Tanya, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
This is so much fun. So I found you, I saw your Instagram, I saw your social media channels. I loved it right away. You have such a great personality. On top of that, you're doing some really amazing stuff. So I want to talk about several things here. Let's start off, of course, with Mama Tanya's Kitchen. Tell me a little bit about that. How long has it been in existence?
Oh, boy, I don't know. Mama Tanya's Kitchen, I guess, has probably been around since I became a mama and needed to cook in my kitchen. But like as an official brand that I'm building out and sort of stepping into the lifestyle genre, I probably sort of committed to it about 4 years ago.
Okay.
And so since then, I've just been steadily and slowly building it. And it really developed organically through my organization, the Black Feminist Project, formerly known as the Black Project, which has a like nutritional health component to it, a food justice component. I would do like these curbside demos called Fast Food and a Snap. And SNAP was a play on like SNAP, Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, AKA food stamps.
Right.
And I would talk about how you make meals using WIC checks. And so people really like them. They like the fact that I was talking really openly about like some of the barriers that come along with wanting to cook nutritious food. But that I also was like, it doesn't mean that we have to like skimp on flavor and taste and cultural, you know, like cultural relevancy or any of that. And so people then started asking me like, well, why don't you do them and put them on YouTube? And I was like, okay. And then before you knew it, I was just like, oh, this is a thing. And then Mama Tanya's Kitchen.
Excellent. So you have Mama Tanya's Kitchen. You have Mama Tanya's Supper Club as well. Tell me a little bit about that too.
So Mama Tanya's Supper Club really is just an extension of Mama Tanya's Kitchen. But it's like, you know, live and in person, you know, live and direct. Right. And so I travel around anywhere in the country and do these dinners. I call them like supper clubs because generally, you know, I kind of keep the advertising really low key. Hey, I'm gonna be in Atlanta. Who's interested in throwing, you know, $50, $75, $100 in the pot, allowing me into their kitchen and just letting me cook up an amazing meal for all of y'all. And then when we get together, we're gonna talk about stuff that's relevant to Black women and women of color and femmes and teen girls. And so it's really like bringing a really dope meal and really dope conversation around the things that affect us together and having a great time. So we dig deep, but the tone is always super light.
How fast can you get those dinners to happen? Like how soon?
Like a week.
Wow, that's amazing. In about a week you can make that happen.
Because listen, if you stay ready, then you don't have to get ready. I'm always ready to go. Like I'm always ready to be like, you know, I have friends of mine who are single and child free and they come and shop in my kitchen because I always have like a full diverse range of herbs and spices and cuts of meat and vegetables. Like I really enjoy food. I go food shopping every day.
Wow, every single day?
Every day I go food shopping.
And you do emphasize that you do buy locally grown food.
I buy locally grown food and I grow locally grown food.
You also grow your
I
own
grow food at the Black Joy Farm.
Keep telling me about that because that sounds so interesting.
So the Black Joy Farm is a urban farm that is located on Simpson Street right off of 163rd in the Longwood, Hunts Point area of the Bronx. It is a 5,400 square foot lot just in the middle of this like dead end street. It is the result of a 10-year campaign to find a growing space. It is ran and overseen by my organization, the Black Feminist Project. And we use it as a place not just to grow food, but we also use it as a place to provide safe green spaces for folks not to be over-policed. We use it as a space to do civic engagement and sort of like radical political education. We use it just as a community space. You know, this past summer we showed Little Shop of Horrors. You know, I thought it'd be great in a green space to show a movie about a flesh-eating plant. You know, whatever.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes all the sense in the world.
It's started by a woman of color, ran by Black women and women of color, but really belongs to the community in terms of its openness and engagement. We raise hens. You know, as we get closer to the summer and the spring, we'll be adding bees so we can keep bees for honey. We grow several different types of vegetables. We host anywhere between 15 to 35 summer youth employment folks with a really strong curriculum around like sexual autonomy, consent, things of that nature. So it's a space that I'm really proud of.
That's amazing. Can I ask you, what made you go down this path of education, specifically in the food world? Why was it so important for you to put out this information in a fun, accessible way, which is what I found, again, looking through your social?
That's why I think the name Mama Tanya is so fitting. My children, right? I'd love to be like there was some altruistic reason for me coming to this work. There was none. I didn't do Peace Corps. I didn't go to like some hoity-toity liberal arts school and wanted to come back to a struggling community and save the children. I was interested in saving my own life and saving my children's life.
Right.
I have a daughter who is now 15, and I moved to the South Bronx. I'm originally from Harlem. I say I was born and raised in Harlem, but the Bronx grew me up. Yeah. You know, I've lived my whole adult life in the Bronx. And our first apartment here, my daughter was very small and she started showing symptoms of asthma. They wouldn't diagnose her with asthma for her first birthday, but she had been hospitalized twice already. And so we knew that we were not going to be surprised by that diagnosis. And she was diagnosed as chronically asthmatic and is to this day. And asthma, as we're starting to find out, is a totally manageable condition, but it is one that you need to treat holistically. It affects the respiratory system, but it also affects your skin. You know, people with asthma generally have a lot more allergies, and this was my child. She like hit all the marks, you know? And so I wanted to start using food as medicine and giving her whole, nutritious, nutrient-dense food, and I started to find that it was very difficult, 15 years ago to do that here in the Bronx. Right. And so I just started looking around my community and trying to find out who was doing work, with a food justice lens. And I don't think we were quite even using that word mainstream yet. But there were some people here and there in pockets underground who were like, food justice, food sovereignty. And I was like, let me get with these folks and see what they're doing. Right. And so from there, I really wanted to do it. But what I found, one of my criticisms is that it did not feel like it was like really for like Black folks and like folks of color, right? It felt very like whitewashed. It felt very sanitized. And I felt like, again, our food stories and pathways were not showing up, right? And it used language that a lot of times felt very off-putting. If you notice, I don't use language like healthy because I think that it's become a word that's very commodified and sort of elitist, right? A lot of the food that we've eaten in our communities generationally has been nutrient-dense food, right? And so we're looking for nutritious food. And so I just wanted to start really getting into that and doing it in a way that resonated with people. I would go to like farmers markets and they do cooking demos, and it would be someone who, wasn't necessarily from the neighborhood, didn't necessarily look like us, doing, a demo with like butternut squash and wheat germ. And I'd be like, okay, and I'm that's fine. I'm not shading butternut squash. I like butternut squash. I've got a recipe up with butternut squash, but it didn't speak to
Sure,
us.
I get that.
Yeah.
I totally understand that. Okay, so let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll do something fun.